Hi folks, Puffin here with your Antifa News Briefa for August 23rd, 2021. Today we're honoring Elijah McClain because it's 2 years since the Aurora police murdered him with the paramedics, I guess, and ketamine. And first I want to talk a little bit about Elijah McClain to honor him. And one reason I care so much is when I was young, probably about his age, the cops murdered my classmate Edward Wright, and for nothing, for them being racist is why they murdered him, and nothing happened to him. And I was already protesting against police brutality before that, but it really struck me hard, and still it does since then. And again, when you hear about him doing it again. But first about Elijah McClain. He's a sweet guy, and you know how trolls always rush in, KGB, KKK trolls always rush in to point out or to try to dig up or lie about something, whatever it is about something, or even something somebody did. They're like, this is why the police should have murdered them, because they're terrorists. You know how they do that? And they're terrorist sympathizers, terrorist supporters. Well, they don't even do that about Elijah McClain. They don't even want to mention him because he's just a sweet kid. Like, you can't even make anything up about him. The only thing I want to say about him is that he played his violin for cats at the shelter. So, flip on your humanity switch if that doesn't do it for you. He played his violin, I think, for cats at the shelter. Not once. That's what he did. That's what he did regularly. They don't have anybody playing violin for him. Anyway, so that's all I'm going to say about Elijah McClain. When they pulled down a statue, somebody put up a cat scratching post, a cat tower, I think in honor of Elijah McClain. Anyway, so the good thing is that they got some laws and stuff and changed some things and made some things better because of him. And his mom was crusading. She was in the newspaper the other day, and her picture was in the newspaper the other day, and they were telling the story on the radio the other day here. She's crusading, but she said something like, it's good to have the law that maybe it will save people's lives in the future, having this law. But she wished if they had the law before, that it could have saved his life. He wouldn't have been killed. And it's really sad, but the law is good, and it will save people's lives. And it was thanks to her to help push the law forward. And they say, well, we couldn't have passed this law before this happened, before this story, but they could have. I mean, that's what they're there for, to write laws to make things better. So yeah, it put public pressure on them, but they could have done that before. Anyway, now in 2021, 2 years later, we do have a law. I think we have new laws addressing police brutality in Colorado, and they are using them. But before I get into that, I have to say the cops that killed him, that beat him and helped assist in his murder, are unpunished. To my knowledge, they haven't been arrested. And I've heard that they were taking selfies at the site, smiling about it. So just the worst people ever, terrorists. And terrorists in uniform and terrorists out of uniform who support them. And then we'll show up at the Capitol and beat them with their own flags, whatever. Anyway, the hypocrisy there is too much. But as far as the law is concerned, they are arresting police in Colorado now for abuse, and arresting police who don't report the police. That's happened, at least, for a couple of officers. And so it seems like at least it's starting a trend, or the tipping point has been tipped, so that now we can start getting rid of bad police officers, locking them up even. And we shouldn't be hiring more bad police officers. There's still problems inherent in the system, which this is starting to address, but they're still worse. I mean, there's still other problems. We might have better cops, we might have, on average, better cops in some other places or whatever, and not as many bad cops, stuff like that. But we still have inherent problems in the system, so where you do have those problems, they don't get reported, or they protect each other. Just the same inherent problems you have in, throughout police departments across the country, with maybe some exceptions. But what I'm getting at is Colorado can become one of these exceptions by enforcing this law, getting better laws, etc., but pushing forward, being a pioneer in this, just like we've been a pioneer in the weed revolution. And that's been really good. $125. That's $25 in tax to the state for an ounce of 24%, 20-something percent THC weed. It's really a good deal at the store, and it's legal. Anyway, so we have better cops here. It's a better place here. But if we can not only make sure that we get rid of all bad cops in Colorado and we don't hire any more bad cops, but we start a trend so that other states do the same, then even if we can't get the federal actions that we need, we can effectively do some of the same things. We just have to keep pushing forward at the local, state levels. So thanks so much for watching the Antifa News Briefa, and thank you, Elijah McClain, for inspiring people. Just like George Floyd, they didn't pick this role. They didn't choose to sacrifice themselves for other people. That was put upon them, but it has helped other people wake up and come to the cause and care. And, you just read Elijah McClain's last words, or just look at anything about him and think how sad it is, and how great it would have been for that kid to keep living, and how many people we've lost like that it would be better if we had them. So thanks. Let's make some changes. See you soon.